What are the advantages of working as a freelance architect, or put it simply, as your own boss? Well, of course, your time is your own. You don't have to wake up early to go to work. You don't have to log in or punch clocks simply because there are rules and regulations. You make your own rules. But what are the advantages of being your employer aside from creating your own rules? You're also able to create your own destiny. And I think that is what is important in becoming self-employed, is because the success relies solely on your own. There is nobody else to blame but yourself. One becomes successful because they want to become successful. One becomes a failure because they didn't do or try hard enough to find the success. Everyone has the ability to find success. Everyone has the right to success. Failure is only something that happens when you give up on success. What are the advantages of being self-employed aside from becoming successful in your own right? Well, you're able to similarly choose the right projects that you feel you want to work on. Working for an employer, at times, you are forced to work on projects which may not necessarily be to your liking. But working on as an independent architect, working by yourself, you can choose what kind of projects and the kind of people you'd like to work with. It gives you a lot of liberties, but it also gives you a lot of responsibilities, because at the end of the day, these responsibilities boil down to your own personal endeavors, to your own personal successes. Now, what are the disadvantages of working by yourself? Well, there is a lack of support. There may be a lack of skills. You may need now to outsource, or you may now need to employ people to simply fill in the gaps that you may not necessarily have. What are the disadvantages? Well, you're not sure that there will be a paycheck coming in every week or every month. Compared to working for an employer, that is something that is guaranteed. That while you are employed, you will be given your monthly regular as an employee, as mandated by the labor laws. But by being self-employed means that there is no guarantee to this. Happy days are only when you are paid by your client. But when the client is not around, then you become part and parcel of the unemployed. So it is easy to fall into this slumber of not being employed because there are no clients. Whereas working for someone guarantees you a certain level of stability and a certain level of stability, as well as a certain level of continuity. Independence compared to continuity is something that you need to choose carefully. The lessons that I've learned as an employer is that your employees, regardless how much you pamper them, will not stay forever. Much as you would like to keep people, their destiny sometimes is not aligned or tied to yours. My lesson for you as an employer is that learn how to build trust, learn how to build relationships, but also learn how to let them go, because at the end of the day, no one stays forever, and people are always dispensable. But one lesson that I learned is that when people leave you, they are easily replaced by similarly capable people. There is always a list of people looking for work, and it's just a matter of trying them out. It's just like going to a shop. There is a list of clothes needing to be bought and worn. It's just a matter of trying them out. And from there, you're able to find the right fit. And hopefully that right fit stays with you, becomes loyal with you, and wants to learn and wants to take this adventure with you for the long term. Well, the struggles of an employer, of course, is fundamental. It is looking for work. It's looking for the client, a client that pays. At the end of the day, it's a question of earnings. It's a question of cash flow. It is a question of sustaining a business. And it is a question of coming up with an income at the end of the day. One of the things that I've learned recently is that no business without it being watched over and carefully planned succeeds without really trying to establish a path to success. At times, this path to success requires a lot of innovation and a lot of guts. And at times, the path to success is simply through sheer fortunate chance, or shall we say, your lucky star. So, the question of how does one find success? The success comes in if you look for success. Success doesn't come to you, you have to look for it. The successes are few and far in between, but they are similarly many in the sense that they become lasting. In my field of profession, in my field as being an architect, as a professor, my successes, as I mentioned earlier on, are the students that I have and the success that they have. My success in my field of profession as an architect, as an employer, is the the joy that I'm able to see with my clients, is the happiness that I'm able to see with my clients, that they're happy with my work. And at the same time, the success that I see with my employees, that they're happy to work with me. Getting a client is your bewildering experience. How does one get a client? There are many ways of getting a client. Through recommendations, or even sometimes you're stuck with someone in the elevator and you overhear a gossip that they were talking about, that they are looking for an architect. And you just become bold enough to turn around and introduce yourself as an architect. And before you know it, you have a client. I know some success stories wherein it was a chance encounter between someone and that architect. And that chance encounter became a long-lasting relationship that up to this day, the working relationship still continues and still holds true. Looking for a client is the most bewildering thing an architect has to face. Again, as I said, sometimes looking for a client is through the assistance of friends and family alike. Friends, wherein they will help you, support you, because they know quite well that they might be able to get services from you for free, and through that, eventually allow you to build a portfolio, and through the portfolio, establish your own practice. Family, because of course they love you, they will find ways to support you. And because family as well spent for your education, in all reality, they want their money back. And because they want their money back, they will help you find a way to pay them the gratitude that you need to pay them. And that is through projects from either the family or from your parents themselves. Once you're able to establish that credential, once you're able to establish your circle of friends, you're able to build a network. This network may be the friend of the friend of the friend of the friend who is in need of an architect. And through good recommendations, because they saw how this work looks like or how your work looks like, then to a certain extent, you are guaranteed a succession of projects. The most important thing for a new architect is that they be able to establish themselves quickly by building something quickly, because that is their calling card to success. If you're not able to build anything, how will a client be able to trust you? If you're not able to design anything, how will they be able to believe you? You need to build something, and that something, once it is done well, with honesty and with conviction, that you didn't fool your client simply because you wanted to earn, will result in good recommendations to others who are also looking for good people to work with. Remember, looking for a client is having a meaningful relationship, not with a client, but with another human being. Now that you know the difference between being an employer or going independent, the question now is, will I go independent or will I work with an employer? The whole question here relies heavily on your own personality. Do you have the mindset and the skills to work independently? Sometimes you have the mindset, but you may not necessarily have the skills. Sometimes you may have the bravado, but not necessarily the financial ability. Sometimes you have the techniques, but you don't have the ability to look for clients. So at the end of the day, you have to look at your strengths. You have to take a look at your weaknesses as a person. You have to take a look at the opportunities and the threats and be humble enough to admit that there are problems that you need to correct. At the end of the day, you need to learn and you need to know who you are as a person. Do not rush yourself. Do not expect that right after graduation, you will be able to establish your own office. A good number of people do, eventually learning and eventually realizing that they end up in failure. Not only were they not able to succeed, but they also end up having broken relationships with their friends when they started. Sometimes this is something that needs time to mature. It needs time to gestate. You need to be able to have that confidence in yourself. Sometimes it is also a question of timing. When the opportunity knocks, strike. When there are no opportunities, there might be a need for you now to look at other options. That option of working for an employer may be the safe zone until an opportunity comes. And when that opportunity comes, remember, they sometimes only come once. Take it, take the leap, have the leap of faith, and believe in yourself. Because once you're able to do so, and once you're able to believe it, then by all means, it should end up being successful. But I'm not also saying that one should not give the opportunity of working for an employer a chance. Because through working an employer, you are now able to come up with skills, develop skills, and learn skills coming from your employer. Do you get yourself employed with just one employer, 2 employers, 3 employers? The more your skills are developed and enhanced, the more your bag of tricks that will allow you in the future to become successful by yourself. You need to be able to be prepared, regardless if you plan to do it independently or you are employed. Preparedness is the key to anyone's success.